Howdy. My name is Nonat, and welcome to something I should have done in the first place, but a few people pointed out in the comments. Lost Omens character guide has a ton of Ancestry feats. Lost Omens character guide?
It's all coming together.
That's right, today I'm going over all of the Dwarf Heritages and bonus Ancestry feats added in the Lost Omens character guide that I forgot to add in my Dwarf video. So thank you all so much for pointing it out in the comments. Let's go ahead and just jump right into them, because honestly, there's a lot. So starting off with the new Dwarf Heritages from the Lost Omens character guide, first off, he's adorable. Second off, Anvil Dwarves. This is similar to some of the Dwarven Feats that give you access to crafting, but this is a full heritage that gives you trained in crafting and the specialty crafting feat. On top of that, when you take this feat, you get to pick 2 specialties instead of 1. This is for the super crafter dwarf. And what specialty crafting does is it lets you pick a specific type of crafting, alchemical, woodworking, smithing, etc., and you get a +1 bonus to all crafting checks to which you can apply that. If you're good at woodworking and someone wants you to repair their wooden shield, you can get +1 to that check, and then increases to +2 once you're a master. Anvil Dwarf gives you that skill feat twice, effectively, for 2 different specialties. That's fantastic. Also, I apologize if I'm shiny by the end of this video. It is so freaking hot right now, and my air conditioner is right there, but I can't turn it on, otherwise the video sounds like poop. The Elemental Heart Dwarf is something I've never seen done. Again, maybe I'm just blind and something like D&D or something else already did this with dwarves, but this is so cool. That's what this guy is. He's an Elemental Heart Dwarf, which is supposed to be like a heritage gifted with magic from like elementals or dragons. And so when you pick this heritage, you also pick an energy damage type, whether it be cold, electricity, or fire, or acid. And you gain the 2-action activity, Energy Emanation, which is effectively a once per day innate spell. You do a massive burst of energy of your chosen damage type, and you deal 1d6 damage to all adjacent creatures, so it's only a 5-foot reach around you. They all get a basic reflex save, otherwise they take 1d6 damage of your chosen type. And every 2 levels you gain, so level 3, 5, 7, whenever you'd increase your spell level, this deals an additional 1d6 damage. This, while never amazing, if you're surrounded, this is fantastic. You could make a really cool fighter or barbarian Elemental Heart Dwarf. You don't even really worry about casting spells, but having this in your arsenal, if you find yourself surrounded by a bunch of tiny creatures, even if you're a dual-wielding barbarian, to be able to just be like, BAM! AoE fireball around me for 3d6 damage? That's huge, dude! Oathkeeper Dwarf is if you really want to double down on that goody 2-shoes paladin lawful good. You gain a +1 to perception checks to sense motive, a +2 to diplomacy checks to make somebody else tell you the truth so long as you're not lying to them, but you also take a -4 circumstance penalty to lie and use deception. So it literally makes you the ultimate truth teller, and you're so good that people want to tell you the truth more, but you're horrible at lying. You really can't tell a lie. This is the Abraham Lincoln heritage. Moving on to the Ancestry feats at level 1, a lot of these you'll see here are uncommon. Now, they say Access, Mountain Dwarf Ethnicity. What this means is that if your dwarf grew up in the mountains, a mountain dwarf is a specific type of dwarf that lives up in the mountains, typically in large fortresses. If you grew up that way, you have access to this feat. Now, this doesn't mean that something like, if we scroll down, an underground dwarf, this doesn't mean an underground dwarf can't take this feat, but it is up to GM discretion. Anything that is uncommon with access is not prohibited and can be given, but a GM has final say to be like, you weren't raised in the mountains, you weren't raised with this particular custom or part of society, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I'm glad I just got that out of the way. That'll apply to a lot of different ancestries in the Lost Omens character guide specifically, so I may not bring it up in the future. I'll probably glance over it, but this is your full explanation. So Avenge and Glory, access is to the Mountain Dwarf ethnicity, and once per day, if an ally within 30 feet of you goes unconscious and gains the dying condition, you gain temporary hit points equal to your level for 1 minute. On top of that, you also get +1 to attack and damage rolls. Now this is a reaction, but this is pretty good, especially at level 1. If you're anything besides a fighter and don't need your reaction for like an attack of opportunity, this is fantastic. If this is on something like a monk or a ranger at level 1, that's amazing. It's a little niche because it relies on your ally dying, and I'm not super huge on that. But if it does go off, it's great, and it is flavorful as heck. I think this would also be really cool on a barbarian, who, when their ally goes down, they just go into like this secondary rage. The problem is that I believe rage is also a circumstance bonus. The answer is no, it is not. Rage, interestingly enough, I'll probably put a graphic here on screen so that future Nonat has to do this and I don't have to scroll to it, but rage does not give a status or circumstance bonus. It just gives additional damage. So this does stack with something like rage. So yeah, I think the double rage barbarian when your ally goes down is super cool. Clan's Edge is rad as hell, and it actually makes use of the clan daggers. By moving your clan dagger with rapid precision, you can protect yourself more effectively. For 2 actions, you get to strike twice and make use of the parry action. Any weapon with a parry trait can use 1 action to basically set it up in front of you to parry and gives you a +1 to armor class. This lets you do that for free effectively. As long as you plan to strike twice, the multiple attack penalty does still trigger like normal, so since they're agile, it'd be normal attack penalty -4, but then you get +1 AC. That's really good. Forge Day's Rest. I don't really know why this is strictly underground dwarf. I'm fine with this. Honestly, I kind of wish this was a general feat. An unusual rest cycle allows you to recover faster. As long as you rest for 12 straight hours, you gain the Fast Recovery General feat and can go 20 hours without resting before becoming fatigued. I like that. I wish this was, I guess it is a general. I just answered, I'm stupid. Yeah, so there is the Fast Recovery General feat. Yeah, this is kind of cool. Again, I don't know why it's to underground. I guess it's because underground dwarves don't see the sun, so they don't have like a regular sleep cycle. But I also don't know why that would mean they would sleep for 12 hours. But who knows? It's cool. You get to go longer if you sleep longer. Surface Culture is probably my least favorite of all of the Lost Omens dwarf feats. It's just, you get trained in society, and you gain the additional lore skill feat for the lore corresponding to your dwarven culture. The way the additional lore skill feat works is basically, you pick a lore skill, you become trained in it, and then at levels 3, 7, and 15, you automatically become expert, master, and legendary in it without needing to spend your skill feat that level. So it's good, it's just a little bit boring to me. Ugh! What are you doing? You haven't even subscribed yet! Did you like the video? Come on, you're enjoying the content, are you? If you've watched this far into the video, the least you can do is leave a like. And if you really want to support the channel, subscribe for more. Did you know almost 60% of people watching this video aren't even subscribed? Alright, this beat is over. Clan Protector is so cool, and it expands even more on that clan dagger focus. Effectively, the parry bonus you get from your clan dagger, also, you can, instead of using it to protect yourself, you can use it to protect an ally. And you can use it multiple times to protect an ally and yourself. So you can spend 2 interact actions. 1 to parry for your ally, and 1 to parry for yourself, and they both count. If you have 3 actions and 2 allies next to you, your entire turn can just be +1 AC to you, +1 AC to you, +1 AC to me. Really cool. Protective Sheath is kind of cool. If you have a clan dagger in one hand and nothing else in your free hand, the sheath of your clan dagger sort of counts as a shield of sorts. Whenever you parry with your clan dagger, you can get 2 armor class instead of the normal 1. The caveat for this is you only get the extra armor class against a target you hit with a strike this turn. It's a really interesting feat, and I kinda love it. I love all this clan dagger synergy. Doomwatcher's Glare is okay. You have to be a Death Warden, which is one of the core rulebook heritages, and if you critically hit an undead creature, or they critically fail a saving throw from one of your effects, they become enfeebled 1 for 1 round. Not overly amazing, kind of boring, and just something that I don't think would happen often enough. I suppose on something like a fighter. A Death Warden dwarf fighter could probably make really good use of this, or probably a cleric. Yeah, I'd say fighter and cleric are the 2 places to go for this, as I bet clerics could have them critically fail saving throws pretty often, but I kind of wish it was longer than 1 round, considering it is driving your divine wrath home in your enemy's heart. They get 1 less damage. Battle Forger is really cool, but I think it should have been a level 5 feat. Level 9 is a bit long to wait, but basically, I bit my tongue. Ow. Ow. You gotta subscribe to make me feel better. Ow. God. Anyway. By spending 1 hour working on a weapon or armor, you can give it +1 potency for 1 day. This has no effect if it's already enchanted with a +1 potency, and if you're level 9, chances are everything you own is already +1 potency, if not +1 potency and striking. So this isn't super useful. It's nice if you have to find a new weapon for any reason. This would be great if you had, like, constant encounters with, like, rust monsters and you didn't want to risk your good weapons, so you would make backup weapons in the morning to use through the day while you're fighting rust monsters, but other than some pretty niche encounters, this sadly falls a little flat at 9th level. I think 5th level would have been great, because you might have 1 +1 item, but this would give you a chance to have maybe even a second +1 weapon on backup, maybe for a different type of damage, like bludgeoning or slashing. But the best part of this is that you can give it to armor, and so, again, if you somehow don't have a +1 potency armor by this point, it's pretty good, I guess. Energy Blessed. You have to have the Elemental Heart Dwarf Heritage, which we talked about earlier, and instead of a 5-foot burst around you, emanation is the real term, you can explode up to 10 or even 15 feet away from you, and normally at level 9, this would be dealing 5d6 damage. If you take this feat, it goes up to 6d6 damage, and starts increasing every time you level up. That makes this, like, a key part of your kit. Again, if you're a barbarian in the middle of fighting, and remember, this uses your class DC, so even a barbarian with a high strength makes the reflex save against this really difficult. So at level 10, you can just burst this 15-foot 7d6 explosion. That's insane! If you compare that to a 5th level fireball, which deals 10d6, it's still pretty good, you know? Because you don't even need to be a spellcaster to take this. Giving something like a martial class a way to get a huge AoE explosion, that's terrifying. Hero's Call at level 9, again, is good. It couldn't have been a lower level spell because it would be too powerful, but as it is, it's still too weak. You gain Heroism as a once per day 3rd level spell. That's great. So if you're not aware, Heroism gives one creature +1 to attack rolls, perception checks, saving throws, and skill checks. So think of it like the guidance cantrip, just on steroids. Also, it lasts 10 minutes. If you're in a group where you can't get these kind of status bonuses, that's really good. The problem is if you have something like a bard who's already providing passive AoE status bonuses, this does get worse. If you're in a group without a buffer, like maybe you're in a group of like a fighter, a rogue, a wizard, and a ranger, that's amazing. If you don't have any other way to get these buffs, you can heroism yourself. Amazing stuff. If you already have someone who can cast heroism or similar spells, it definitely gets a lot weaker. And the final feat from the Lost Omens character guide is Kneel for No God. You have to be an ancient-blooded dwarf, which again is from the core rulebook. Effectively, the Call on Ancient Blood reaction, aside from just giving you +1 to saving throws versus magic, now negates critical failures if you used it. If you get a critical failure after using your Call on Ancient Blood reaction, you only get a normal failure. It's fantastic, you know? Anything that can stop something catastrophic like a critical failure has a lot of power, especially because critical failures and critical successes are so much more common in Pathfinder 2e. And that is my addendum to the Dwarf Heritage and Ancestry feats. Thank you so much for pointing it out in the comments. I really do appreciate it, guys. I don't know how this slipped my mind, but y'all are on the ball. Coming out tomorrow is going to be the Elf Guide, so I hope you enjoyed this bonus video today. Just since I've got you, I am going to point out that the second episode of the No Nat 1's actual play was published today, and it's a pretty good one. So if you're interested in checking out me and some friends playing live, you should definitely go check that out. But that is it for today. You got a bonus video. I hope you enjoyed it, and like I said, I will see you tomorrow for Elves. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and until next time, No Nat 1s.